It's game day here in New York City as South Carolina is playing their first Sweet 16 in the modern day format. They will take on the Baylor Bears tonight at Madison Square Garden, where they look to move on to their first Elite Eight in program history. Adam, what would you say the keys are for South Carolina to win this game?
In the round of 32, Chris Silva was able to stay out of foul trouble, giving the Gamecocks big minutes down the stretch. When they're facing a team like Baylor, big guy Jonathan Motley down low, Silva really has to be able to stay on the court, not only on defense but on the offensive side. Claudia, on the offensive end, what do the Gamecocks need to do to come out with a win tonight?
The Gamecocks really need to make their free throws. They did a lot better against Duke than they did against Marquette in the first round, but they still weren't making enough, and you cannot win a game if you're not going to make your free throws. And that's something the Gamecocks have struggled with all season, but they picked up, like I said, against Duke, so they might pick up again tonight.
The other thing on offense, Baylor's got that very tough zone defense, only allowing about 63 points a game this season. South Carolina, another thing, with Silva on the court, has to attack inside out in the zone. They can't be settling for long jump shots because they can't stay hot the way they have all throughout that Duke game where they shot about 80% in the second half.
Yeah, so the Gamecocks have been playing really well in that second half, and they played really well against Duke in that second half of the round of 32 game, and they just, they're on a hot streak right now, and if they follow what we said, then they can continue and beat Baylor and move on. So it's just going to have to see if they can continue that hot streak. Well, from Gamecock Student Media, I'm Claudia Chikamian.
I'm Adam Morfinger, and let's take a look at what Ben and Carson have to say about Baylor's keys tonight.
Thanks, guys. Now let's take a look at some of the factors with Baylor in this matchup. Ben, what do you think about their defense?
Their defense is great. They play a lot of zone. They've limited teams all year to 50 points or 60 points. Although in the tournament so far against Southern Cal and against New Mexico State, they've given up more points than they usually do, but they affect the three ball, and they also don't give up a lot of points in the paint because of their length.
Yeah, and speaking of length, they have a lot of tall players. Jonathan Motley, 7'1", Wainwright at 6'5". How do you think their height will affect the outcome?
Their height is going to be a huge factor in this game because South Carolina likes to attack the basket, and that's what they do. They attack the basket to open up their perimeter game, and when South Carolina does that, that's when they really start hitting it on all cylinders. So that's going to be the pivotal matchup in the game, that zone defense inside the paint versus Dwayne Notice and Sindarius attacking the basket. And
lastly, the third key is turnovers. They have been huge for Baylor. Last game they played in the second round against USC, they had 12, and in the second round with USC and Duke, USC forced 18 turnovers. And not to mention, Sindarius Thornwell is the SEC leader in steals with 2.2 per game. So how are turnovers going to affect Baylor in this one?
Turnovers is a critical factor for Baylor in this one. They give up an average of about 13 turnovers a game, and they had one game against West Virginia, or Press Virginia as people called them this year, where they gave up 29 turnovers.
Wow.
That's should never happen, and if they play like that they did in that game, South Carolina will run with this one because that's where South Carolina feeds off of. They feed off of the turnovers and whatnot, so turnovers are going to be a huge factor.
So those are the key factors for the Baylor Bears in this matchup. We look forward to tip-off at 7:30 from Madison Square Garden.
From Gamecock Student Media, I'm Ben Parsons.
And I'm Carson Mason.